All right. So, we're always on the lookout for like interesting developments in the blockchain world. And,
Always. Yeah.
you sent over something really cool about Flare.
Uh-huh.
And I think we talked about Flare before on this show, but
Often.
just for anyone who needs a quick reminder, they call themselves like the blockchain for data.
Yeah, the blockchain for data, that's their big thing.
Right. And this thing you sent over, it's about how they're like integrating with this platform called Goldsky.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you heard of Goldsky before?
I have. Yeah. They're really focused on this real-time data stuff.
Okay, so real-time data.
Real-time data. Yeah.
Flare.
Mm-hmm.
The blockchain for data. I mean, it seems like a pretty like natural fit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the big thing they're going for here is like giving developers like way better tools to build dApps.
To build dApps.
Yeah.
Okay, and when we talk about dApps, I mean, we're talking about decentralized applications.
Exactly.
Right, like the things that are actually built on top of blockchains like Flare.
Exactly. Yeah. So Flare is kind of like the foundation.
Yeah.
And then the dApps are like the houses or the buildings that you build.
The buildings, right.
On top of that foundation.
Okay, so we've got this announcement that you sent over.
Yeah.
Straight from the Flare website.
Straight from Flare, yeah.
So, we're getting it right from the source.
Right, from the horse's mouth.
And the goal today is to really like unpack this partnership.
Exactly.
And try to figure out like what it really means for people who are building dApps on Flare.
Yeah.
Right. So not just for like
right.
the average person who's maybe just like
hearing
about this stuff for the first time, but like what does it actually mean if you're a developer?
Right. If you're down in the trenches.
Who's trying to build something.
Build the next big thing.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So the announcement, it's kind of got a lot of like technical jargon.
Blockchain announcements always do.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like
that's the nature of the beast.
Part of the territory.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to like cut through that and get to like the core advantages. Like what are the actual benefits here?
Yeah. What's the takeaway for the listener?
Yeah.
Right.
Why should someone care about this?
Exactly.
Okay, so right off the bat, they're talking about like providing developers with essential tools.
Yeah.
To simplify dApp creation.
Yeah, so they're really hitting that like developer experience.
Okay, so developer experience.
Yeah.
That's something we hear a lot about in the tech world.
Oh, all the time.
Right. It's like if you make it easy for developers to build on your platform, then more developers will build on your platform.
Right, exactly. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
If you want to attract the best developers, you got to make it easy for them.
Okay, so they're emphasizing that.
Yeah.
And then what are the like the core benefits that they're promising here?
So they talk about a couple of things.
Okay.
One is making it much easier to access like real-time blockchain data.
Okay. Real-time blockchain data.
Yeah. So for a lot of dApps, especially ones that are like, kind of dealing with like fast-changing information.
Right.
Getting that data instantly and like accurately is like super important.
Okay, so it's got to be fast.
Fast and accurate.
And accurate. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing they're talking about is like boosting the developer experience with high performance indexing.
Okay, high performance indexing. What does that even mean?
So think of indexing like a really well organized filing system for all the data on the blockchain.
Right.
So it makes finding what you need like incredibly fast and efficient.
So instead of having to like search through like a huge
mountain of data,
pile of data, you can be like, okay, I need
this specific piece of information.
You can just go right to it.
Boom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what indexing is.
That's indexing.
And Goldsky, I guess, is good at indexing.
Oh, that's what they're saying. Yeah.
Okay, so they're good at indexing. They're making it easier to access real-time data.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are like the two big things.
Yeah, those are the big promises.
Right now, how do they actually like pull this off?
Okay, so
how does Goldsky actually do?
So in the announcement, they mention a couple of like key features.
Okay, what are those?
They talk about subgraphs.
And
mirror.
Okay, so subgraphs and mirror.
Yeah.
What are those?
So subgraphs basically let developers kind of like query essential blockchain data.
Okay.
But the key here is with like minimal setup.
Okay, so minimal setup.
Yeah.
What does that mean practically for a developer?
So instead of developer having to write like a ton of complex code to like dig through all this blockchain information.
Subgraphs, let them basically like to find exactly the kind of data they're looking for and get it back really quickly.
So it's kind of like a really specific search filter.
It's like a laser-focused search for the entire blockchain.
Got it. So instead of building the whole infrastructure to find the data,
exactly,
you can just ask for exactly what you need.
You say, I want this, and it gives it to you.
Okay, that makes sense. And then what about Mirror?
Okay, so Mirror is really interesting.
Okay.
It's described as a feature that basically lets dApps like seamlessly live stream the state of the Flare blockchain.
Okay.
Directly into a database.
Whoa, okay, so that's a lot to unpack.
It is a mouthful.
Right, so what does that actually mean?
So imagine like a constant up to the second feed of all the important activity on the Flare blockchain.
Yeah.
Like being piped directly into a developer's own database.
So it's like they have like a live feed.
They have a fire hose.
Of what's happening on Flare.
Of what's happening on Flare.
Okay.
In real time.
Real time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Mirror is.
That's Mirror.
Okay. And the announcement mentions that Goldsky is like the official indexer for Flare.
The official indexer.
Right. What does that actually mean, like, for developers?
It basically means that Flare is saying, hey, we recommend Goldsky as the go-to way to access and organize our blockchain data.
Got it. So it's kind of like a stamp of approval.
It's a big stamp of approval.
Right, from Flare.
From Flare.
Saying this is the way to do it.
This is who you should be using.
Okay, and the announcement says that this eliminates the need for developers to set up their own complex infrastructure.
Right, because building and running the systems to, like, watch a blockchain and, like, organize all the data, it can be a huge job.
Like a full-time job.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So Goldsky's basically taking care of all of that.
They're doing all the heavy lifting.
So the developers don't have to.
Yeah, they can just focus on building their dApps.
Okay, so this live stream data through Mirror seems like a really big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Especially for certain types of dApps.
Yeah.
The announcement gives some examples like perpetual futures and prediction markets.
Right.
Why is it so important for those specific applications?
Okay, so for things like perpetual futures and prediction markets, timing is like absolutely everything. Okay. The price of an asset can change like in an instant.
Right.
And you need to be able to make decisions based on the very latest information.
Okay.
So if you're using delayed data, you could end up making like bad trades.
Yeah.
Or like missing opportunities.
Right. Or like your whole system could just like fall apart.
It could introduce like weaknesses or vulnerability.
Right. Okay. So the live data makes sure that those dApps are operating with the most current information.
With a real-time view.
Okay. Got it.
Of what's happening on the blockchain.
So it's like if you were trying to trade stocks, but you were using like delayed price feeds, like you'd probably lose all your money.
You would get crushed.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why it's so important.
That's why it matters.
For those specific applications.
Yeah.
Okay, now the announcement lists all these like developer-friendly features from Goldsky. Like scalable subgraphs and flexible data streaming pipelines.
Right.
I mean, those sound pretty technical.
They do sound technical.
Can you explain like why those things are important?
Okay, so scalability is like always on a developer's mind.
Okay.
When they're building a dApp. Because as more people start using the dApp, it needs to be able to handle more data and more activity.
Okay.
So scalable subgraphs basically mean that as the dApp grows, the way that it requests and accesses data can also grow with it efficiently. And then flexible data streaming pipelines basically give developers more control over how they receive and process the blockchain data.
Right.
So they can really tailor it to their specific needs and make everything like faster and more efficient.
Got it. Okay. And then they mentioned a few other things that I don't even really understand. Like
they get a little more technical.
Elastic compute. Self-healing capabilities. And periodic backups. What are those all about?
Okay, so elastic compute is basically being able to adjust the processing power that you need to handle the data as demand goes up or down.
Okay, so if your dApp is suddenly getting a lot more users, you can just like...
You can scale up the compute.
Scale up the compute.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, and that makes sure the dApp doesn't like crash or slow down.
Exactly. It keeps things running smoothly.
Okay, got it.
Self-healing capabilities are really important, especially when we talk about like blockchain reorgs.
Okay, blockchain reorgs. What's a reorg?
So reorg is kind of like a temporary like reshuffling of the blockchain.
Okay.
It's like
blocks get moved around or something.
Yeah, it's like the blockchain kind of like figures out the best way to order the blocks.
Got it.
And sometimes it has to like make adjustments.
Okay.
And those adjustments can cause like little hiccups in the data.
Okay.
So Goldsky can automatically detect and fix those reorgs.
Okay.
Which makes sure that the data that your DApp is relying on is always like the correct and final version.
So it's like error correction for the blockchain.
It's like a self-correcting blockchain.
Okay, got it. And then periodic backups are just like making sure that the data is safe.
Exactly, just in case something goes wrong.
Okay, so it's kind of like a safety net.
It's a safety net. It's a backup.
Right. Okay, so it sounds like Goldsky is offering
a really robust and streamlined way for developers to work with data on the Flare blockchain.
That's the idea.
Now let's zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
The announcement talks about the significance for the Flare ecosystem.
Right.
How does this kind of integration actually help Flare grow and attract more projects?
It all comes down to providing developers with like reliable high-performance tools.
And why is that so important?
Well, if developers have access to like better, easier-to-use tools, they can build more innovative and user-friendly dApps.
Okay.
And that, in turn, brings more users to the network.
So it's like a virtuous cycle?
It's a flywheel. Yeah. You get better tools, you get better dApps, you get more users, everybody wins.
Okay, there's a quote in the announcement from Hugo Fillion, who is the co-founder and CEO of Flare.
That's right.
And he mentions that Goldsky aligns perfectly with Flare's goal
of boosting their already impressive 1.8-second block times.
That's super fast.
I mean, that's like crazy fast.
It's near real-time confirmation of transactions.
Okay, so how does Goldsky make sure that developers can actually take advantage of that speed?
Okay, so a fast blockchain like Flare can generate a ton of data very quickly.
Yeah.
So if the tools for accessing and processing that data aren't just as fast, it creates a bottleneck.
Right, so it's like having a super fast internet connection, but then your computer is like slow.
Right, so Goldsky makes sure that the data processing can keep up.
With the speed.
With the speed of the Flare blockchain.
Okay, and they talk about these mirror pipelines.
Yeah.
Can you explain? Like...
So mirror pipelines basically allow developers to replicate various data types in real time.
What kind of data are we talking about here?
So they mention things like the actual blocks of the blockchain, individual transactions, logs of events, and even like traces of activity.
So it's like pretty much everything that's happening.
It's a really comprehensive range of on-chain data.
Okay, and they can replicate all of that? In real time.
In real time.
Into their own systems.
Exactly.
Okay, so that gives them like a direct and super fast connection to the Flare blockchain.
It's like a direct line to the heart of the blockchain.
And the announcement mentions some pretty big projects that are already using Goldsky.
Oh, yeah.
Like Polymarket, POAP, and Unichain.
Right.
I mean, what does that tell us about?
So that's a really strong signal.
Goldsky.
Yeah.
Like how established and reliable they are.
Yeah, I mean, those are all like really significant players in the Web3 space.
Right.
And the fact that they're all choosing to use Goldsky suggests that it's a really robust and reliable platform.
Okay, so it's battle-tested.
Battle-tested.
Yeah, right.
It can handle real-world demands of like live apps.
Okay, so there's a quote in the announcement from Jeff Ling, who is the co-founder and CTO of Goldsky. And he says that Goldsky is Flare's primary indexing partner.
That's right.
And he points out that there are already dApps live on Flare that are leveraging Goldsky.
Yeah, they mentioned a few like
SparkDex, Raindex, and Steer Finance. So this isn't just like future potential.
Yeah, it's already happening.
It's already happening.
Developers are using it.
Okay. And it seems like Flare's really committed to like making their platform developer friendly.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of emphasis on that.
The announcement mentions their continued commitment to providing developers with all the tools they need.
Yeah, they want to make it like as easy as possible.
To build on Flare. Okay. And they're even offering credits to developers who use Goldsky to help them get new projects off the ground.
So that's like a really tangible way to support the growth of the ecosystem.
Right. So they're not just like talking the talk. They're actually putting money...
They're putting their money where their mouth is.
Behind... Yeah. Okay, so the announcement has a link if people want to dive into the details.
For the hardcore folks out there.
It's https://goldsky.com/chainsflare.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Good idea.
For anyone who wants to check it out. Okay, now the announcement also mentions a couple other recent news items from the Flare ecosystem.
They kind of rattle them off?
Yeah, they're just quick little blurbs. So there's Cyclo bringing liquidation-free leverage to Flare, Chain Patrol partnering with Flare, and a vote to optimize data provider rewards.
Right.
We're not going to deep dive into those today.
Maybe another time.
Yeah, but what do those other news items tell us?
So those are really interesting because they kind of paint a picture of a really dynamic and active ecosystem.
Okay.
So you've got DeFi developments with Cyclo, increased security through the partnership with Chain Patrol, and then ongoing efforts to refine the network with the data provider rewards vote.
Okay, so it's they're working on all these different things.
They're firing on all cylinders.
At the same time.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not just one thing happened.
Yeah, it's not a one-trick pony.
It's a lot of different developments are happening.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So to bring it all together, what's the main thing that you think our listeners should take away?
I think the core takeaway is that this partnership between Flare and Goldsky is a really big step towards making dApp development on Flare much more efficient and powerful.
So it's good for developers.
It's great for developers.
Right.
And ultimately, it should be good for users, too.
Right, because if developers can build dApps more easily, then we should see more innovative dApps.
More dApps, more innovation, faster development.
Faster development, yeah.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Okay, so better tools, better dApps.
Better dApps, better user experiences.
Better user experiences. It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Okay, I like it. So here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Think about how these advancements in data accessibility, the speed and the efficiency that we've been talking about, might unlock totally new kinds of dApps and user experiences that we haven't even thought of yet.
The possibilities are endless.
Right. What could we build?
Yeah.
If we have access to all this data in real time.
In real time.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing.
Thanks for taking that deep dive with me today.
My pleasure.
It was a good one.
It was a good one.
All right, we'll catch you next time.